Who is Ellen Mukwewa? What does that mean? Had you always realised that you wanted to start a business? How did you get your very first customer? What are you working on? Welcome to the Jod Pod, a micro podcast where we interview CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, authors, and coaches. Today, we are very lucky. We are joined by Ellen Mukwewa, the founder of Marell Consulting Limited. Great to have you with us today, Ellen.
Thanks, James. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So for those of us who don't know who you are, who is Ellen Mukwewa?
Okay, as you've mentioned, I am the founder and I'm also the managing consultant at Marell Consulting Limited. We are a company that promotes excellence in non-association independent schools.
What does that mean? When you say you promote excellence in independent schools, who is that and what kind of thing do you do for them?
Okay, so non-association independent schools exist because the founders believe that they can offer a better quality of education than what is currently available. They believe that they can serve specific groups of children much better than they're currently being served in the mainstream provision. I believe that this is something worth doing, and therefore I think it is worth doing well. And that is what the company is about. It's about helping the leaders of independent schools to do what they do extremely well. My mission, shall we say, is to make sure that school improvement becomes part of the culture of every school that I work with, and to ensure that they promote excellence across every part of the provision, and not forgetting helping them to get positive inspection outcomes and meet the regulations so that they can stay open and serve as many children as possible. So that's what we're about. My vision, if I should go on, my vision is that excellent independent school provision is available for children who are not able to thrive in mainstream schools.
That's lovely. Ellen, I love your energy and your passion for what you do. It's evident in every word and syllable that you announce, which is wonderful. When did you first realise that you wanted to run a business like this, to be an entrepreneur, to start your own business and provide the value that you do?
The business started in 2012, but if I'm going to be honest, it was not, the start that you imagine, where someone realizes, ooh, I'm going to start doing this. This is worth doing. I literally fell into what I am doing. But lucky for me, I fell into an area which is perfectly matched to who I am and how I do things and why I do things. It was, when people talk about falling in love, and sometimes you fall in love with the wrong person, I fell into this, but I fell in love with the right person. It just happened to be, the perfect area for me.
When you started the business, though, had you always realised that you wanted to start a business?
No.
Was that something you'd always thought about?
No, not at all. I was never one of those people who wanted to start a business. In fact, a long time ago, one of my friends was talking to me about their business and encouraging me to start a business. And I said, no, I don't want to start a business. I'm a worker bee. I even wrote a little blog saying why I love to be a worker bee. So, no, I did not want to start a business, but I ended up working for myself. And then I realized that I really wanted to do this. And then I realized that I was in the right environment. And I realized even much later that who I am and what drives me and the way I do things is perfect for the business I'm in. So, I've been lucky.
I agree with your friend, and I imagine anybody that would have encountered you and the passion that you have for what you do would have echoed what your friend said about starting a business. I'm so glad that you have. I'm curious if you didn't want to start a business and you kind of fell into it, how did you get your very first customer?
My very first customer was my last employer. I left that employer. They were a company that runs both an independent school and also an independent learning provider for learners who are over 16. And I was working as their quality improvement officer. And we had just had an inspection of the independent learning provider, and everything had gone really well, and I was on a high. I left soon after that. And unfortunately, soon after I left, they got notice that the independent school was going to be inspected. And I had just left, so the person who replaced me had just stepped into a job. They were trying to get to grips with everything, available, and they didn't feel confident enough to face an inspection straight away. And so I was asked to come back and spend some time with this person and help them prepare for the inspection, which I did. And it went really well, and they got a good outcome. And then I thought, I could do this. And that was it.
That's fantastic. I think there's a lot of people that probably overthink where they could get their first customer, and actually looking at their current skill set and looking at places where they've worked before is, I wouldn't say an easy answer, but it's certainly somewhere that people should look, to try and get themselves started. That's fantastic. Ellen, what are you working on now? I know you've got a few different ideas floating around, but what's your big focus at the moment for Marell Consulting?
I am working with a few schools, providing ongoing support, managing the whole excellence in the school. So I do this via a lot of systems and working closely together with the leaders and the teachers. I am also doing work with some groups of people who are starting independent schools. So, these are the people I was talking about who are really passionate, and they're talking about, we believe that pupils with these needs are not served well. We are going to do this, and they're really passionate. They want to start an independent school. I'm working with those people as well. Previously, I worked a lot with people who had been inspected and it hadn't gone well, and I was helping them to bounce back. I don't have a lot of those people now. Most of the people I'm working with right now are all about building these systems of excellence or actually starting new independent schools.
That's great. And, people that are in that situation that want to try and improve their systems in their school to strive for excellence, do you find that there are people who are going, I want to strive for excellence, but we've got these problems, or are they just suffering problems and they don't really know where the next step is? What's the pain that they're kind of going through that makes it a no-brainer to give you a call?
First of all, it's a lot of the time schools struggle with consistency. They will let's say, come up with a way of doing things. They will build a system or come up with a way of doing things to produce a specific result. Usually it's all about, what pupils gain out of the school. And that's why they exist. But they fail to maintain that in place. And then they will do really, really well for a period of time. And then later they will just fall down. So, maybe they get a good or outstanding inspection result, and then later they don't do well. And it's about failing to maintain things in place and also failing to put in place developmental processes. So you're not just maintaining what's working well. You are also checking and making sure that where there's any room to improve, that you put in place some improvements. So, that's one of the areas where they struggle. And then the other area is that where there is no culture of improvement within the school. So it's not just about talking to to school leaders and building systems. It's about making sure that every single member of staff at the school, whether they are support staff or teachers, they have a similar attitude to the way they do things, that they feel pride in what they do, and they are so proud of what they do and how it benefits pupils that they want to make sure that they're doing it well. So it's about getting to a place where every staff member feels that way, because when you don't have that in place, it doesn't matter what system is put in place or what process is built, it won't work. People need to feel so good about what they're doing and what they're achieving for young people that they desperately want to make sure that they're doing it well. And that is very difficult to achieve, because it's about, the whole culture of the school.
I think there's so many parallels from what you were just talking about in businesses. Your speciality is schools, but having everybody focused and motivated to improve every aspect of what they're doing, either at work or at school or whatever kind of environment they're in, I think is so powerful. And I can totally see how you're a kind of catalyst for change in those kind of businesses coming in, and just those kind of organizations, just coming in and, showing them a direction and showing them a system and a way of actually kind of being maybe a little bit, without focus. What's the term without focus? I can't think of it. But without focus, actually giving them a direction and catalyzing them and helping them embody their vision. That sounds awesome. Ellen, are you ready for some quick fire questions?
Yeah, okay.
Yes? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. What's your favorite app or SaaS product that you use every single day?
Oh, LinkedIn.
Why LinkedIn?
Okay. I love LinkedIn because that's where I get to connect with my clients. Most of the people I'm connected to are people who work in non-association independent schools. And I love seeing their pictures and videos of what their pupils are doing at the schools. And I check LinkedIn. If I counted how many times I looked at it throughout the day, I am sure that I'd be embarrassed to say. It's a lot.
That's fantastic. I think, I use LinkedIn all the time as well. There's lots of problems with it, but as a way of connecting to people and targeting the people that you connect to, I think it's absolutely, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks for sharing that, Ellen. What's your most recommended book?
Start with Why.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Because it made such a huge difference in my life. I mean, I love to read. Sometimes I kind of buy more than I can read. That's another thing. I'm trying to remedy that.
That's a common ailment of the entrepreneurial brain, I think, Ellen.
I did a summary at the end of last year, and it was horrible. And so I said to myself, this year I'm going to stop buying books for a while and start reading what I already have. And I'm doing well in terms of reading what I already have, but I've bought 3 new books already. Anyway, start with Why, because it was the book that helped bring everything together. When I talked earlier about how I fell into what I'm doing, and then I realized that, I'm really good at doing this, and that who I am and, how I do things is perfect for it. This book helped bring it together. I've always known that growing up, I've been the kind of person who, whatever I'm doing, I want to kind of do it really well. And I know it sounds cheesy, and I know that some people say this to sound good, but it is annoying the way that I like to make sure that I've done everything exceptionally well. And I found out, fairly recently that I do this because of something in my childhood. I was raised by a single parent, and because of the way, single parents are viewed generally in a negative light, and where I grew up, it was, really negative from society as a whole, even your own family or in church. So it was just this negative view of single parents and their children, and an expectation that they would not do well. And so because of this, I've always wanted to do well, to do really well, because I was fighting against it. I wanted to prove that I'm the child of a single parent and I'm going to do really well. So, I'm going to crush all of your expectations because I'm me. So that drive is what made me this kind of person who, whatever I'm doing, I want to do it really well. And then as I grew up, I noticed that you can do something really well today, but repeating that method for the next, 2 years is not a good idea, because, maybe there's a better way of doing it tomorrow or next week or next month. And so I moved to just doing my best I moved from just doing my best to doing my best, checking to see if there's anything I could do better, finding out how to do it better, then doing that next time, and so on and so forth. And that was me. And that was not just with work, it was with everything, even my home life. Even as a parent, I would, play back, how coaches, I'm drifting, and you can pull me back anytime if you want.
I'll tell you what I was going to say. I was going to say Simon Sinek has got a lot to answer for.
He does.
I know that he's lit a flame under a lot of people, but in particularly you, Ellen, and I think your why is so strong. I think anybody that wants to hear more from you, get in contact with Ellen. Ellen is very generous with her time and can share a little bit about her why and how you can find your why as well. I think Ellen's a very good person to speak to about that. Maybe I'll do a Jod Pod one day that's a couple of hours long, Ellen, and we can really deep dive. on Sinek. Yeah.
The book helped me find my why, and finding my why, it's just opened everything up. It helped me understand who I am, why I do the things I do, why when I fell into this business, it was the perfect business for me, and it changed everything. So yeah, I recommend the book.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ellen. Who's your favourite YouTuber or podcaster at the moment?
I'm not a very big YouTube watcher. Do you say that? When I go on YouTube, I'm just looking to be entertained. I will watch a few music videos or comedians and things like that. Any
podcasts you listen to?
I will be listening to the Jod podcast when it airs. Yeah, I do sometimes listen to Chris's podcast.
What's that? What's that one?
It's the Social Inc.
Oh yeah, all about digital marketing.
Thank you. It's as I'm saying this, all I'm seeing is green. I know it. I listened to it, but the name was just not coming. But there's a lot of.
He will be delighted. He will be delighted that he's got a shout out on this show. Yeah. He will be absolutely delighted. It will make his day. Thank you for that, Ellen. Who do you think the next Elon Musk or Denise Coates, the CEO of Bet365, might be? Who should we be keeping an eye on?
Honestly, I don't know. I will read about people like that and, learn as much as I can. I don't think I stay connected enough to know who is the next what. Sorry, I have no answer for you on that.
That's okay. So where's the best place for people to find you online, Ellen?
Online, I would say definitely LinkedIn. Go to LinkedIn first. But I'm also on Twitter. My company website, and soon there will be this lovely scorecard. But
we'll put a link to that in the show notes. There we have it. Ellen is the founder of Marell Consulting Limited, where she promotes excellence in non-association independent schools. She managed to get her first customer through her previous employer, finding a need, a bit of pressure they were under, and making the most of that opportunity. Ellen's favourite app is LinkedIn, where she makes contact with all of her ideal clients, has conversations with them and builds some really great relationships with them. I don't know if you could tell, but her most recommended book is definitely Simon Sinek's Start With Why. I think it's inspired an awful lot of entrepreneurs out there. She loves listening to the All About Digital Marketing podcast with Chris Bruno, the host, and not sure who we should be keeping an eye on as the future Elon Musk, but you can keep in contact with Ellen by heading over to LinkedIn, searching for Ellen Mukwewa, drop Ellen a LinkedIn invite. I'm sure she'll be happy to network with you. Or head to Marell Consulting online by going to www.marellconsulting, that's marellconsulting.co.uk. Ellen, thanks for joining us today on the Jod Pod.
Thank you, James. It was fun.
And thank you for joining us today with our interview with Ellen on the Jod Pod. To ensure that you don't miss any of these episodes, you know what you need to do. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, bang the button, hit like. I'm sure there's other places you could put something in. Also, ask us a question. Ask Ellen a question about how she got started, her motivations for what she does for non-association independent schools, or drop me a question in the notes, in the comments below. I guarantee we will get back to every single one of them. It helps the channel out, it'll help Ellen out, and it'll bring a little bit of joy into each one of our lives. So get involved. I hope you've been inspired by Ellen's story today. The whole point of the Jod Pod is to inspire people like you to step out of your comfort zone, go and build something and inspire the next generation. Thanks for joining us today on the Jod Pod. If you enjoyed this interview, why don't you check out some of these other interviews that we've done on the Jod Pod. More inspirational CEOs, coaches, entrepreneurs, founders, and authors. I'm sure there's something here that will inspire you to build something new.